Okay, now that I've downloaded my data, I've got population by income and population by race. I want to map that, and so I want to join. Let's do population by race first because I want to make a population density map, and then I want to make a map that shows kind of different racial characteristics in the country. So I need to join this table to this shapefile and kind of give it geometry. But first, let's just kind of look at each of the tables that we want to join to make sure we know what we're doing. So I'm going to bring in U.S. County 2010, and you'll see that here's the kind of the nice geometry of all the counties in the United States. And this is pretty nice. If I open up the attribute table, though, I'm going to find that it doesn't really have any population information, and that's the information I want to kind of join from that other table. So I open up this table, and I see, aha, okay, I've got a lot of information here, a lot of codes, and I don't really like working with big tables. That's just me. I feel like it's confusing, and all of these fields have different purposes depending on who uses this data. So, NHGIS does a good job. They kind of give us all these different possibilities, these different codes that, depending on our profession, we might use or not use. But I know that I only really care about the data that I want to join, and maybe a couple of these fields. And I hope you might be able to tell, kind of based on the join video, that we need a key field. And so I need to find a key field to maintain in here so that I can kind of join it to my attribute table that I want to join. And I don't know if you can see it, but NHGIS does a good job again, and they give us this join field right here, GIS join. And we'll take this one and keep that, and then we'll also keep, let's keep the name of the counties. We'll do this one right here, name LSAD10, because it kind of is a longer name, maybe a little bit more information. And we'll also keep the state ID in case we want to do something by state later. So I'm going to delete all of the fields except for those three, the key field, the join field, the state ID, and the name LSAD. So to change this, I'm going to hit toggle here. I'm going to hit delete field, delete column, and then it brings up this dialog here. And I'm just going to select all of them and then say that, nope, I don't want to delete GIS join because I have to have a key field to join my attribute table. And I don't want to delete the name, and I don't want to delete the state. And I think that is good. Oh, the other thing we don't want to delete, let's keep the area of the counties, the shape area. And I want to do that because I hope you saw in one of the videos that we might have to normalize by area. Instead of doing raw population, we'll want to do population per square mile. And so this is a measurement of each county's area. So I'm going to keep that. Yeah, sorry I didn't mention that earlier. But that's good. So whatever we delete is going to be kind of gone forever from this file. So if you're doing a big project, it's always good to kind of, before you just delete things, always save a copy of the shapefile, and you can just kind of say save as and save it as source data. So anyway, I'm going to say OK, and then it will take a little while, but it should delete everything. Okay, that looks nice and clean. That's great. So we have our key field that's going to join the attribute table. We've got a measurement of area, and we've got the name of the county, and we've got the a state kind of code or ID here. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to say save, and then I'm going to toggle this back off of editing. And what you'll notice is that when we're in edit mode, it kind of looks like the counties are on fire. And that's just because it's actually, I don't know if you can see this, but there's an X for every single vertex, because it's kind of thinking that we're going to go ahead and move these. We could edit all of these. So whenever we're in edit mode, we could move around the vertices, but we're not going to do that. Just don't be alarmed if you see all this red pop up. And if you see red, that means you're in edit mode. And if you don't see red, like we're about to do right now, toggle, it goes off and you're not in edit mode. And it's good to hit save and kind of in general keep your layers out of edit mode, because it demands a lot from the computer to kind of have that all in virtual memory as if it's going to make changes to the database. So toggled edit mode off. My US Counties 2010 is ready to join. I'm going to go ahead and open up that DBF file so that I can see this population by race in a spreadsheet before I join it, just to make sure it's ready to join. So you go ahead and drag that DBF into QGIS, and you'll see that it pops in there, but it doesn't have a geometry yet. It's just a table. So nothing popped on our screen over here, because this map canvas kind of only reads how we symbolize our geometries, and this table does not have a geometry yet, and we're trying to join it to this shapefile to give it geometry. So you can still right-click the table, though, and open the attribute table, and that's how we can kind of look at it. And this looks good. It was well managed. I just want you to know that all the work that I did on this table was done in OpenOffice. You can make these tables be, they can be CSVs or .txts, and if you're going to do that, you can use Excel or Google Spreadsheets or things like that. But OpenOffice will write directly to DBF, and DBF is the native kind of table format for the shapefile. And it's just kind of nice, because if you save things as different types of tables, sometimes the data type will get messed up when you bring it in. So if you can, use OpenOffice, import your data and do all that kind of stuff, and then export it as a DBF, because it'll join very easily and all of the numbers will come out correctly. Anyway, so the data that I've prepared for you is a .dbf. So you bring that in and it opens right up. And what you can see here is the NHGIS gives us a GIS join on the attribute table as well. There's another county name, which we probably don't need, but it's there anyway. And then there's total population, Hispanic population, white, African American, American Indian, Asian, Pacific Islander, other, and 2 people who identify as 2 or more races. So let's go ahead and do that join now. I'm going to close this, and I go actually when I join to the properties of the layer, of the geometry layer that I want to join the information to. So I go to the properties of US County 2010, and the properties dialog comes up, and then we've played around with style, a little bit with labels, but now we're going to go to this one right here, which says joins. And we go here, and we're going to say we want to add a join, and it gives us this option: join layer population by race, join field, and target field. These are kind of the key fields, right? There's the join key field, which is the GIS join, and the target key field, which is also GIS join. They have to be exactly the same, right? We're trying to get a one-to-one join. It says cache join layer in virtual memory. So what that means is that it's going to take that table, and in virtual memory, we're going to be able to play around with it as if it's a part of this shapefile, but it won't actually be a part of this shapefile. So if we do the join and then we close out and we reopen, this join won't exist if we don't save it as a new file. So it'll be stored kind of in virtual memory, but we'll have to kind of save it as a new file if we want to kind of keep it that way. So I'll show you what I mean in a second here. You can also choose that you don't want to have every single kind of field to be joined, but we do. And the other thing we want to change is the prefix. So right now the table is called population by race underscore, or it's population by race, but then it adds an underscore. And that means that every single field is going to get this header so that you know which table it came from. Let's say you had 5 different tables and you wanted to join them all, then you'd give them a different kind of prefix, and that would help you know which table you're talking about in your field. You'll see what I mean in a second. But I want to make this shorter because that's going to kind of blotch out our entire name. So I'm just going to call this R for race with the underscore, and you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to say OK because this is going to work, and then it says memory cache prefix is R. and it joined all the fields. I say apply or OK. And then if I go into my attribute table now, you should see, yep, there they are. So all of the fields came through. And I don't know if you can tell, but the prefix allows us to know that now every county has the table population by race, which has the prefix of R, and here are all the fields from that table. So if we had had that longer name, population by race, these all kind of wouldn't have, they wouldn't have existed. It would have just said population by race, just because for some reason fields can't store long names. So that's a confusing way of trying to describe it to you, but field names must be short. That's why I always change the name so that it'll be shorter. And when we join the other table, we might call it I for income, I underscore, and then we'll get the other one. So that's how you do a join. In the next video, we will save this as a new file. Maybe we'll go ahead and just join that other table. Maybe you can try to do that on your own. Join that other population by income table. And I'll see you on the other side. And we will save as a new file and then start to symbolize and kind of look at our map and have fun with that. So, okay.